So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and tonight we're going to talk about the 16th album by Cannibal Corpse called Chaos Horrific. And for those of you that don't know Cannibal Corpse, they're a death metal icons at this moment. They've been around since the late 80s. And the first time I saw the band was when I saw Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. You know that scene where Jim Carrey goes into a bar and Cannibal Corpse is playing. And yes, they're a band that you know what you're gonna get when you listen to Cannibal Corpse. They changed singers and now they have the legendary George Corpse Grinder on vocals, and he's got the best neck in the business by far. So the band, has been on a roll for a long time. Every time they put out an album, it goes, they get a lot of attention because first of all, they're brutal as fuck. And second of all, they have almost all the covers for them are amazing. And this new cover is not the same. So how did I listen to this before it came out on Friday? Because I got the album and I'm gonna show it here. Here's the artwork. Doesn't this look brutal as fuck? So yeah, that's why I can review some albums before, because they send them to me because I'm the Shield Dude on a couch, okay? So they sent me this album, I've been listening to it, and what can I say? Yeah, this is a continuation of their last album to me sonically. They have some songs here that the album, like song titles alone, are like, wow, that sounds very brutal. So I have my glasses on because I'm gonna do some reading, and I need my glasses to read what what it said about this album. So the band has been, producing this album with Rutan Mana, and he's been doing 6 albums for Cannibal Corpse now. So that's very important because he knows their sound, and they got like a very distinctive sound to them. There's many death metal bands, but I think Cannibal Corpse has the blueprint of what death metal should be. And at this moment, they're just the kings of death metal. Anything they put out will get attention. And I can say that I'm not a huge fan of death metal, but yeah, I respect Cannibal Corpse because they put out solid material every time. They're consistent as fuck, and that's very important. So drummer Paul Mazurkiewicz said that the record is a great representation of the band, and the subjects that they cover on this record, they talk about fighting hordes of zombies in Chaos Horrific, the selection of random individuals to be dismembered and sacrificed, with someone for sacrifice, and the violent revenge of victims of human trafficking with vengeful invasion, just to name a few. So those are very interesting subject matters. Obviously, they talk more about zombies with the songs like Friend Side Feeding, but the singles that they put out, like Bloodline, I thought it was very interesting song. And even though there's death metal, there's some elements of thrash metal to a few of the songs on this album. And the song that starts the album, Overlords of Violence, really caught me off guard because it starts with a very good slapping bass and kind of like a punk vibe to it, but then it goes into the death metal that they're known for. So a lot of people could dismiss that, yeah, this is another Cannibal Corpse album that sounds like Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, I think if you're not a fan of Cannibal Corpse, you won't be won over by this. But if you've been listening to the band for years, you're going to be happy with this album. I think they keep their sound pretty consistent, but I think there's some experimentations here and there, like what they did with the album opener, Overlords of Violence, that they opened in a way that was like, I wasn't expecting that bass at that moment, but it kicks off the album really well. So yeah, like these titles, they already talked about zombies and other topics like this millions of times, but they do it so well. Yes, this is the album that I would tell you to not put on a Friday night on a date because you won't get laid with Cannibal Corpse. Listen to this with friends and you'll have more fun. But yeah, The sound of the album is pretty crisp. I think George Corpse Grinder is a great vocalist, even though like sometimes the death metal vocals are brutal as fuck and sometimes you can't understand. I can actually, on repeat listens, understand of what he's saying because he really belches out those lyrics well, and he does the guttural vocals and that style in a way that you can understand. And not every vocalist can do this. I'm looking at you, Chris Barnes. Yeah. So yeah, George Corpse Grinder, always solid as fuck. Obviously, Alex Webster, he's a great bassist, one of the best bassists for death metal, and they just keep doing solid material. There's not a weak track on this record. I think there's only one track that I thought was kind of disjointed, and that was Fracture and Refracture. I don't know, I think the pacing of the song was a little bit off for me at some times, but I wouldn't say it's bad. I love the album closer, Drain You Empty. It's just like, that's a great fucking title. I'm gonna drain you empty. And that's basically what this band does with this release. When it starts to finish, it's like 100 miles per hour and it's beating you into submission. So at the end, you're like, yes, Cannibal Corpse, you have definitely drained me empty. So you see what I did there. Yeah, but yes, so I think the song Chaos Horrific has one of the best choruses on the record, where he's shouting like Chaos Horrific, Chaos Horrific. It's just so good, and I'm gonna strain my voice now. I'll need some fucking water once I stop filming this. But yeah, so in a nutshell, Cannibal Corpse has released another solid banger of an album, 16 albums into their career, 35 years, and they're not putting a stop sign anytime soon. This is a band that still sounds as fresh and as pissed off as they sounded when they started. And that to me is fucking impressive as fuck. So what do you think of Chaos Horrific by Cannibal Corpse? Did you like it? You didn't like it? Comment. What are your favorite tracks? And out of all the death metal albums that comes this year, do you think right now this is the king supreme for death metal albums? So I want to know. And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to give me a like and do not forget to subscribe. I have more content on the way. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.